So, what's better than one bloodline, two bloodlines? What? Okay, cool. That's what you need to know before you go into what's the pros and cons of two bloodlines. Let's do this!
Dun 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 dun. B-sides!
Hello, and welcome to Pathfinder B-Sides. I am your host, Professor Phoenix. And today we're going to be going over the Crossblooded Archetype for the Sorcerer class. I'm not going to take up too much of your time today. Let's just go right into it. So, for the flavor text, straight from the D20 PFSRD, a Crossblooded bloodline combines the powers of two distinct heritages. In most cases, sorcerers with this bloodline are the offspring of two sorcerers from different ancestries, but occasionally a cross-blooded sorcerer arises from the conjunction of other powers. A draconic sorcerer who is also the culmination of a great destiny, an abyssal sorcerer from a family that dealt with devils, and an arcane sorcerer raised from birth by Fae are all possible sources for cross-blooded bloodlines. I like that flavor. That's good flavor. Also, in addition to this part of the flavor text, there's also a cross-blooded sorcerer selects two different bloodlines. The sorcerer may gain access to the skills, feats, and some of the powers of both bloodlines she is descended from, but at the cost of reduced mental clarity and choice. See drawbacks. So I guess, from my point of view, I'm seeing that as what's the most badass way to set up two different bloodlines to make your character the most you character you've ever made yourself into a character, but for not really you, but how is the ultimate customization of your character that you're making, your sorcerer? 2 parts sugar, 1 part nasty? Are we doing the dragon and the elementalist? Are we doing Phoenix and the unicorn for the ultimate life-getting and soul-setting ability? What are we doing? But for all awesomeness today, I think we're going to be sticking with the possibilities of the Phoenix bloodline and the unicorn bloodline, just for explanation and stuff. So carry on with those, and also there are links to both of those bloodlines down in the description, and also somewhere in the top of this screen there should be a little boop that pops out letting you know that you can go check out those bloodlines on those videos, because I've already done those bloodlines. What a coinkadink. So the first thing is that you're going to be getting class skill. A cross-blooded sorcerer receives the bonus class skill from both of her bloodlines. If these are the same skill, this does not grant any additional benefit. So in this case, when we're talking about the Phoenix and the Unicorn, the Phoenix gets Knowledge Arcana, and the Unicorn gets Heal. So both of those would be class skills for you. Next up, you're going to be getting something called bonus spells. A cross-blooded sorcerer may select her bonus spells from either of her bloodlines. The sorcerer also has the choice to learn a lower level bonus spell she did not choose in place of her higher level bonus spell she would normally gain. Lower level bonus spells learned this way always use the spell level they would be if the sorcerer had learned them with the appropriate bonus spell. Now, the D20 has its own example, but we're sticking with the Unicorn and the Phoenix just for right now. So let's say at 5th level, you wanted to go with the Phoenix Sorcerer bloodlines, see invisibility, right? And then at 7th level, you were I don't really want to learn Magic Circle against evil, but instead I want to go with the Unicorn's Cure Moderate Wounds that they would have had at 5th level, even though honestly, you have the ability to get Cure Serious Wounds at 7th. I'm just saying, Unicorn has some sweet spells. Oh, okay, cool. Instead, let's go with Atonement. Let's change Atonement out at 11th level, and then go back to the Phoenix bloodline to pick up Wall of Fire, because that's always useful, as is See Invisibility. So, I mean, it's more whatever flavor do you want your guy to have, but either way, the spell you select, if you end up picking up that Wall of Fire at your 11th level, but that would normally be a 4th level spell or one that you would have picked up at 9th level, then that's going to go under your 4th level spells known, not under your 5th level spells known. It doesn't get to go up and increase the DCs without the use of heightened spell. I'm just saying, them's the rules, that's what you got to do. So next up, the Crossblooded Sorcerer combines the bonus feat list from both of her bloodlines and may select your bloodline bonus feat from this combined list. So the Phoenix has access to dodge, elemental focus, fire, fast healer, improved initiative, iron will, mobility, quicken spell, spell focus, knowledge, arcana. Those are some pretty solid bonus feats, but the unicorn itself also gets alertness, animal affinity, brew potion, fleet, great fortitude, improved counterspell, self-sufficient, and spell focus heal. So over all of those, I mean, personally, I would probably go with improved counterspell. Great fortitude is always useful, considering that would be shoring up your not best save. And then, you know, going with quicken spell, fast healer, improved initiative is always solid. Dodge is always a good call. I mean, mobility, iron will. I mean, just because of the fact that you're going to be taking a -2 to your will saves, but we'll go over that later. But, you know, keep that iron will in mind, you know, just as a favor. So next up, we've got Bloodline Arcana. A Crossblooded Sorcerer gains the Bloodline Arcana of both her bloodlines. So for the Phoenix, in this case, you would be getting, when casting any spell that deals fire damage, you can instead heal your targets. This spell does no damage, and living creatures affected by the spell instead regain a number of hit points equal to half the fire damage the spell would normally do. Yeah, but I hear you saying, alright, Professor Phoenix, what does that have to do with anything? Well, the unicorn, their Bloodline Arcana is every time you cast a spell, you can restore a number of hit points equal to double the level of the spell you cast to one target of your choice that you can see. A creature at its maximum hit points cannot be affected by healing. Healing a dying creature with this ability does not automatically stabilize the creature unless the hit points are brought to 0 or above. Yeah, but that's just you reading a second Bloodlines Arcana. Like, come on, can you, like, get to the meat and potatoes of this? Alright, cool. So with the Phoenix, like, let's say you cast a fireball, right? A level 3 fireball, whatever, so it's going to be 5d6, bare minimum, right? So you cast 5d6, and they heal half of that damage, which would be 20, which is half of that is 10, so the teammate would be getting 10 HP back, but you're also adding in Unicorn Bloodline, which means that you also can do double the level of the spell, so that's a 3rd level spell, so that's adding 6 to that spell, so you can either heal the character that you see, what, like 16? Or you can heal 10 to one character and 6 to the other. And as long as it's a fire spell, that applies constantly and consistently. But if it's just a healing spell, like you're doing Cure Moderate Wounds or something, then the fire damage that's half has no effect, and we're not even counting that in, so you've got a couple of moving cogs that you need to keep track of. But I mean, considering that generally if you have like a 3-man party and no one wants to play the cleric, then you might be the second best thing. I'm just saying, don't cut yourself short for doing awesome things. Next up, we've got Bloodline powers. So at 1st, 3rd, 9th, 15th, and 20th levels, a Crossblooded Sorcerer gains one of the 2 new Bloodline powers available to her at that level. She may instead select a lower level Bloodline power she did not choose in place of one of the higher level powers. So here's where you get to start choosing specifically which things you want to be. Do you want to stick with the safekeeping ability that the unicorn would get at 1st level, or do you want to go with the unseen world that you can get at 1st level, where you can automatically identify the properties of a non-cursed magic item you hold? You can still identify it as, you know, using identify spell or whatever, but that's the number of times equal to your charisma modifier. Or do you stick with the safekeeping, where you just grant a +2 insight bonus to AC for 1 round? And again, like I said in the other video, that doesn't stack with any other insight bonus, so it's just you for 1 round. So generally, you pick the thing that you think would give you the most utility as a player, and in this case, like, I would be going safekeeping, pure of mind, And then, I mean, between Righteous Fury and Vermilion Wings, man, this is going to be rough because, I mean, the Vermilion Wings give you a fly speed of 90 with good maneuverability, and you can dismiss them as a free action. That's solid. But then you've got the ability to have this really huge horn just pop out of your head all day long, you know, from the unicorn with the Righteous Fury. It says once per day you can create a spear of pure light and throw it, right? But I've always kind of pictured it as like, you just grow this horn that goes out of your head, right? And you just look like super magical. And once a day you can like try to look like you're kamehamehamehaing with like your fists, but instead of doing your fists or whatever, you do it from your head. And like the horn just like shoots out. That's why it's a ranged touch attack, right? And you're just like, oh, and it goes like, and you know, like spears your target. But that's just like once a day, and you know, you can always play it off like, I can only do that once a day. Don't rely on that as an ability. But I mean, so it's either wings or the super spear from your forehead. I mean, that's choices, right? And you know, then you've also got Friend to Nature versus Restoring Flames, where you get greater restoration once per day as a spell-like ability. But the Unicorn Bloodline gives you greater restoration at 15th level, so I mean, you don't even have to take Restoring Flames, because then you can just cast it as many times as you want as long as you're a sorcerer. Same level, so I mean, I would probably stick with the Friend to Nature. And then for the 20th capstone, you've also got the immunity to poison, to charm effects. You know, that's just from the blessing of the unicorn, but also you've got the Phoenix, where you get to come back again if you die after 1 minute. So, you know, I'm just saying, like, you got some choices to make there, friend. So finally, we've got drawbacks. A Crossblooded Sorcerer has one fewer spell known at each level, including cantrips, that is presented on table sorcerer spells known. Furthermore, the conflicting urges created by this divergent nature of the Crossblooded Sorcerer's dual heritage forces her to constantly take some mental effort just to remain focused on her current situation and needs. This leaves her with less mental resolve to deal with external threats. A Cross-Blooded Sorcerer always takes a -2 penalty on will saves. Alright, so you lose one spell known at each level. I mean, it's not that bad. Honestly, you could be a human and just completely counter that with your, you know, favored class, and just taking one extra spell known every level and just like kick that drawback in the butt. And then, you know, as for the -2 penalty on will saves, you can always take Iron Will to counter that and be back to where you are. Now, I understand you would be taking some, like, I know you're basically paying taxes for being a badass, but I mean, you got to pay the cost to be the boss, am I right? So, I guess what I'm saying is, Cross-Blooded is cool and perfect if you have massive ADD, or if you want to pretend like your character has massive ADD, or if you want to pretend that your character's character has massive ADD because he's wondering about the outside influences of, like, is he celestial but he also has an abyssal like mindset, or is he dragon and fae? Are you shadow-blooded but also like you've got some sweet magical unicorn somewhere in there? Or are you just rocking the Phoenix Sorcerer Bloodline and you figured Elemental might give that a good boost to it as well, and you're going to make it really confusing by being Elemental Ice or Water or Acid instead of being Fire, but realistically we all know that you should have gone Fire. I'm just saying there's a lot of different combinations that you guys can go through out there. Why don't you drop me some of your favorite combinations down below in the comments? Speaking of comments, why don't you hit me up in the comments and tell me how I'm wrong about something? I know you like doing that. Or tell me a story of your favorite Cross-Blooded Sorcerer in all of fictiondom. That sounds like a thing. We do have a Patreon that is always useful and helpful. And then also there's Facebook and a Discord that we all get on and talk smack, and I keep trying to play games, but no one wants to play games with me. It's hard. But, like, I try to run a game. I don't know. It is what it is. Join the Discord. See what we can do. And finally, thank you for coming to see me talk about an archetype that you always wanted to know more about. You guys take it easy and keep gaming.